Hey, what's going on, everyone? As you see by the title and thumbnail, we are going to be discussing NBA today. We have a 5-game preseason slate to talk about. Super excited for NBA to be back. Just the daily grind of it is unlike no other sport. Super fun to play. It's great sweating. So if you never played NBA, this is your first year, welcome. We'll be having videos out basically every day, and it's going to be a fun year. So let's get started. As always, appreciate if you guys hit the like button on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be making videos every day, so you might as well subscribe if you're going to watch. You can follow me on Twitter at the DFS Process. Check out the website, dfsprocess.net. And before we get into the plays, I actually have to talk about a new partnership. It is with Prize Picks. They have been making a wave the last couple months. You've been hearing their name a lot. Some other sites are talking about them. And we'll be talking about them a bit as well. They kind of decided to take a shot on me and gave me a chance to be a partner. So basically, what you get in return is if you use a promo code process, you get an instant deposit match up to $100, so free money there. It's super easy to play. All you do is pick over and unders on players' projected points. So for tonight on these 5-game slates for NBA, they already have the projected points out. Trae Young has 27 projection. I would take the over on him. Hasn't played basketball in like 9 months. He's young. He's gonna get that team going. I would take that over on him. Also take the over on De'Aaron Fox at just 24.5 projected points. The Kings also have had a long break. He's another young guy, fresh off of a max extension. He's going to be leading that team. Bogdanovich is now on the Hawks, so no other real ball handler to take some of his duties away from him. So I think Fox is going to blow that projection out of the water today. And then one under that I'm taking is Derrick Rose at 19. Just the fact that he's a veteran, has played a lot of basketball. He's dealt with injuries. I don't think they'll push him a ton in the first game. They have a lot of point guards on their team anyways. They drafted one or high in the draft, I think 6th overall with Hayes. They have Wright, Knight, McRae. They have a lot of guys, so I think Rose is not going to be able to play enough to hit that 19-point projection on Prize Picks. So you can take a shot on these three. If you have any other ones, then by all means go for them. But all you do is pick 2 to 5 players, and then you can win up to 10 extra buy-in depending on if you pick all 5 or if you just pick 2 and be a little bit safe. But super easy to play. But let's get into the video. So as always, starting off at the point guard position with NBA, we'll go game by game just for this one because there's some things to talk about with injuries. So the first game, Orlando and Atlanta. Rondo is not going to play, probably. He is doubtful, and I don't think he will play because he's a veteran. He's been around for many years. They have a lot of young guys. He's out. And then Chris Dunn is not going to play either. So at point guard for them, they're down to Goodwin and Trae Young. So which is why I like Trae Young a lot on Prize Picks to get over that projected points. At shooting guard for these teams, Ross is out. He got a fractured toe, so he's going to miss some time probably into the regular season. So he's out. They have Fournier, who's been with them for a while. They have Fultz, who could, he's going to get opportunities this year. So they have him, those two guys on shooting guard. And then on the Hawks, you have Bogdanovich, who I like a lot at 4,800. Herder, 4,700. The Hawks are going to be pretty nice this year. They got a lot of young players with veterans in there with Gallinari, and they got Clint Capella. So the Hawks are going to be a pretty fun team to watch this year. Small forward, you have Gordon at 73. I'm not really that interested. I just think that there's some better plays, but he's the most expensive guy at this position for these two teams. I like Bogdanovich a lot on DraftKings. You can play him at shooting guard and small forward at 4,800. That looks really good. And then power forward, Isaac is out, Aminu's out. And then at center, Capella is questionable. That will be pretty important. If he doesn't play, then you could see John Collins start at the 5 maybe. And they might even start Reddish and Hunter together. There's not a ton of injuries on that first game. On the second game, the Knicks and Pistons don't have a lot of injuries either. You have Rivers with the Q tag. He is probably not going to play. Maybe dealing with a groin injury. But this second game is pretty clean of injuries. The Houston-Chicago game, Harden is out because he returned to training camp late, so he has to quarantine or for 6 days, test negative or something like that. So he's out for this one, and he's probably going to miss a couple preseason games. John Wall looks like he's going to play, and DeMarcus Cousins, not sure. He has a questionable tag, but I don't know if I don't think it's injury related. It might be COVID related. So there's some injuries to watch on the Rockets. On the Bulls, there's not a ton, except for guys that weren't going to make too much of an impact, in the regular season with just how deep they are now. But Valentine is out and Garrett Temple's out. Those guys will get some minutes, but they are kind of 8 to 10 man, 8 and 9 guys off the bench instead of starters. So that's it for that third game in terms of injuries. We got a lot of injuries in this game with both LeBron and Davis have already been ruled out. I would not be shocked if the Clippers do not play Leonard or Paul George at all, since the Lakers already ruled out James and Davis. But even if they do play, I don't know if they'll play a lot. So I'm not that interested in this game. This game has a lot of risk because both of these teams, coming off of the bubble, they both went deep. They both played just recently. The Lakers had obviously they won the finals, so they've had them and the Heat have had the shortest turnaround. So they're probably not going to play their veterans at all, very much in the first game at least. And LeBron and Davis might not even play the entire preseason, or maybe they might play one game at the end. So there's some risk in this game. I'm not that interested in it. I like this last game as a late night hammer. There's some question marks with guys like Nurkic is questionable. It's unlikely to play now, so you have Nurkic potentially out. You have Whiteside potentially out. Former team. Could have been a nice spot to go to him, but he's out. Oh, he's not out, but he's questionable. He's dealing with a calf injury. I know Luke Walton said he's going to be day to day. I don't know if he's going to play. It's the last game of the slate. I don't really want to take a shot on that. Bagley is unlikely to play as well. So they are going to be a little bit shorthanded, but they do have some reinforcements. The Kings have they brought in Glenn Robinson from the Sixers. They have B. Jelly, Parker, Barnes at the power forward position. Then center they can play Rashawn Holmes at center. Even B. Jelly can play some center. So that's pretty much it for the injuries on these 5 games. Looking at builds, we're looking at some of my core pieces today. At point guard, this position is absolutely loaded. You have Lillard, Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, John Wall is like that fourth tier besides those top three. But the top three in Lillard, Young, and De'Aaron Fox all look like tremendous plays tonight. You can try to get all three if you wanted to in the point guard, and utility spot. But the favorite for me is going to be Trae Young against Orlando. Just a young guy who hasn't played basketball in 9 months. He's ready to get it going. He is going to be leading a very fun and I think, very talented Hawks team this year, and I think they're going to have a chance to make the playoffs. Pretty good chance to make the playoffs, and maybe compete. So I like Trae Young this year. I think he's going to be in conversation for MVP by the end of it. So Trae Young is my favorite point guard play on the slate. If you're going below $7,000 here, you have Schroeder at 68. Now that LeBron and Davis are out, there's going to be a lot more opportunities to get some minutes tonight, at least on the Lakers, and get a lot more usage. But that price tag is already up there enough. Rose, I'm not interested in. Elfrid Payton, I'm not interested in tonight. Fultz, you could look at him just because they also do not have DJ Augustin anymore. So Augustin was taking a lot of minutes from Fultz. But now that he's gone, Fultz is going to be probably commanding 30-plus minutes every night. Cole Anthony, the rookie, is going to get some work as well. But some value plays here is like Calvin Hayes for the Pistons at 4,400. He's going to be killing Hayes at 4,400. He's going to be starting for them at point guard. So that is just like kind of similar to Reggie Jackson in terms of build. But I think that he's going to be able to kind of be in conversation for Rookie of the Year, has decent Rookie of the Year odds. He's going to get the playing time on a bad Pistons team that made some weird moves in the offseason, bringing in Plumlee, paying a lot for Jeremy Grant. But Hayes has a lot of talent. I think he's going to be able to be one of the better value plays tonight at 4,400, especially with him starting tonight. So he's the best play that I like below 5K. You could look at like Satoransky. Could look at Alex Caruso. They're going to get some more playing time. Caruso is with no LeBron. You could even see him start. At shooting guard here, you have Kawhi, who I'm not sure will play a lot, so I'm going to kind of pass on him. I like Zach LaVine, another guy who hasn't played in a lot in like 9-10 months, so he's itching to go. Already talked about that in social media, so I feel like he's going to get a good amount of playing time. He's going to be the best player on the Bulls this year. He has been having a good season. He shoots a ton, But even last year, he showed some of his peripheral upside with averaging almost 5 rebounds, 4 assists. It's almost steal and a half per game. So he definitely is going to emerge this year, and I think going to build off of last season, and especially on a preseason slate against Houston. I expect Zach LaVine to come out and do his thing. So I love LaVine. He's my favorite shooting guard play, just with the uncertainty around the Clippers. I think you can look at CJ McCollum at 7,200. You could go really affordable for like Bogdanovich, who we'll touch on, but he looks good at 4,800. He's going to be starting at shooting guard. You have RJ Barrett for the Knicks, just a young guy going to get some minutes. He looks pretty appealing as well. And then there's going to be some guys that just come out and shock during the preseason. It could be Alec Burks for the Knicks, just because he's going to get playing time. He's going to get the minutes. He's going to shoot a lot. We know that. And then Houston with no Harden, you could look at Eric Gordon at small forward, although he's another veteran that they've played a lot. He's dealt with some injuries, so they might not push him either. But at small forward right now, moving on to small forward, besides we already touched on Kawhi, touched on LeBron. Gordon, I'm not interested in paying 73 for him. Buddy Hield is fine, but I like Fox a little bit more. I think you can go pretty cheap at this position with a Bogdanovich or an Obi top in the rookie that they drafted 8th overall. He's going to slide in and be in the starting lineup most likely next to Julius Randle. So he's a guy that looked very good, has a chance to be a pretty good player for them this year. So keep an eye on him. He's only $4,800. Then you have Otto Porter, who might not get a ton of playing time, just with, at least in the beginning of preseason, with all the injuries that he suffered over the past couple years. They have Patrick Williams, $4,400, who's going to get some probably good minutes for the Bulls. He probably won't start. He's come off the bench, but at $4,400, a 4th overall pick, Bulls are still going to be trying to develop this year. They're not going to be competing for anything, maybe a playoff spot at the end. But I think you could look at Patrick Williams as a cheap play, but then you have Kyle Kuzma at 4,400. Going to be jumping into the starting lineup tonight with no LeBron and no Davis. You expect him to be able to take a lot of usage from that. So I think he looks to be a strong play, especially just with the lack of a ton of confident guys that you feel good about paying up for as small forward. I feel like I'll go down for like a Bogdanovich or an Obi Toppin or a Kyle Kuzma, or go with like Patrick Williams and take a shot on him. So yeah, I think I'll go cheap at this position. At power forward, you have Christian Wood, 7,500. He looks like a pretty good play today with no James Harden. That there's gonna be so much offense to go around. John Wall might not play a ton in his first game back in like 2 years. So you could see Christian Wood. He's gonna be starting for them. Might not even see DeMarcus Cousins tonight. So I think Wood looks like a pretty good play. John Collins looks like a good play, especially if Capella isn't able to go. So just moving over to center, we'll get more rebounds. You could look at like Harrell if he starts at center without Davis tonight. Bagley is not going to play tonight, so on the Kings, they have some guys that will just come out and play. Like you could see Jabari Parker play a good minutes tonight. He's been getting some good reviews in training camp. They have B. Jelly. I believe they also have Kaminsky. I believe Kaminsky is also on the Kings. But they have some guys that they can kind of rotate in for Bagley since he's not going to play tonight. Covington, 55. Nice player in terms of point per minute and upside with the blocks and steals. He's going to be a decent play tonight. Could take a shot on like a Gallinari off the bench. Hope that he gets hot, but another veteran. See if they push him a lot, especially coming off of last season. I think at power forward, you can go a bit cheap, and maybe instead you can maybe play like go with Bogdanovich, Bogdanovich at 4,800, and then go with Kuzma at power forward. And then at center, we can pay up for some guys. We have Vucevic, Christian Wood, Collins, all look pretty appealing. I think that Vucevic looks like a really good play tonight. Actually, I might go back to what I had originally and put in Christian Wood at power forward and then put in Kyle Kuzma at small forward. And then that leaves you with 47 left. I would like to get to De'Aaron Fox as well. Bogdanovich and Kuzma as your small forward and power forward. And at center, I liked Vucevic, but I think Christian Wood against Chicago has a lot of upside. A young guy, huge upside. Gave him a big contract. I definitely think he's going to be able to come out and play well tonight against the Bulls front court. So that's pretty much it. These are the 6 core pieces that I like for tonight on DraftKings. FanDuel was pretty wild tonight. Everybody's $100 on that site, so you play whoever you want. But all right, so on FanDuel, you can play whoever you want. They didn't even make it easy to sort the guys based on skill levels. So just kind of have to kind of go off the DraftKings, I guess. But you can kind of look at each position like I did on DraftKings. FanDuel, you just want to play the best guys because you're not dealing with the salary cap. You want to play the guys that you think are going to get the most minutes and be able to do the most production in those minutes. So point guard is the most loaded position on FanDuel. You have De'Aaron Fox here. You have Damian Lillard. You have Trae Young. You have even John Wall. Without Harden, if he plays even a decent amount, can be a great productive player. So I'm going to pay up for those guys. Could even look at like Kobe White if you wanted to. But for me, I'm going to be paying up for Trae Young since everybody is $100, not even paying up for him. I'm playing Trae Young at the minimum. I'm going to play De'Aaron Fox at the minimum together. Shooting guard, you have not a ton of pay up options, but you still have. I mean, by pay up, I mean like ton of like guys that are expensive on DraftKings that are gonna be productive players this year. You have Zach LaVine. You have CJ McCollum here. You could play a couple of them together. There's nobody on the Knicks and Pistons who I would play at this position. There's nobody on the Orlando side. On the Hawks, you could look at Bogdanovich. There's nobody on the Lakers I would play besides Schroeder at this position. And then here I would just play Hield or McCollum. But Young, Fox, Zach LaVine. Small forward is super thin on FanDuel, like always. Just scrolling through, you have Cam Reddish, who's probable tonight, though. Hunter, Porter, who knows how many minutes he's going to play with all the injuries that he's dealt with. You have Carmelo Anthony, once again a veteran, who knows how much he's going to play. Paul George, veteran, coming off of losing in the Eastern Conference or Western Conference Finals. Just like the Lakers resting, you could see them rest their guys. You have Gordon here. His injury history speaks for itself, so there's gonna have to be a little bit creative about who you pay up for here or who you play here. And I think Patrick Williams is a guy that you're gonna be able to get at pretty low ownership. The Bulls picked him 4th overall. He's not gonna start tonight probably, but see Billy Donovan run some deep rotations. He's probably gonna play 20 plus minutes off the bench at least, and there's been some good things about him. His defense, especially on FanDuel, that is important with the blocks and steals. His shooting needs a little bit of work, but he can kind of be a guy that just drives to the rim and is a good defensive player. And 4th overall, they're going to want to see what they get with him with the lack of prep time before the season starts. I expect him to play a good amount tonight for the Bulls. At power forward, there's a good amount of guys at this position. You have John Collins, you have Aaron Gordon in that first game, you have Julius Randle in the second game. You could pay at $100 for. Third game, you have Christian Wood here, who looks pretty good, obviously, especially if Cousins isn't able to go and he starts at center. So I like Christian Wood. And then in the Lakers-Clippers game, there's nobody I would really play at power forward. Could look at Kuzma, but I think there's better guys. Like you have Collins there, you have Christian Wood, you have Randall. You have guys that are going to be better productive players, even though Kuzma does have opportunity. I like him on DraftKings because you need some savings there. And then the last game you have without Whiteside, most likely they have Rashawn Holmes will probably start at center. He looks good. Parker could play him or Robert Covington. And then center, pretty thin with a lot of these guys questionable. Nurkic not expected to play. Capella's questionable. Cousins, who knows if he's going to play right now. And then Whiteside is also up in the air. Most likely probably not play, but I have no idea. So you left with Nikola Vucevic at $100. You're left with Wendell Carter, Enes Kanter, and Montrezl Harrell, and Mitchell Robinson. So it's gonna be Vucevic for me, the best player out of the group that's healthy. And even though he might not play a bunch, he can get you like a double double in 20 minutes against this Hawks team. So these are the 6 guys I look at on FanDuel. And that's it for the video. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and best of luck tonight.